Please allow me to introduce our next speaker. Suzan Wahhab is the president of the Palestinian Christians in Australia. She was born in Jerusalem and lived in Ramallah before migrating to Australia with her family in 1986. She's here today to tell her Palestinian story. Thank you.
Can you hear me, everyone? First, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land on which we meet and pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Jewish American anti-Zionist writer Amanda Galenda says, "No one told me that the birth of Israel required the death of the Palestinians, an ethnic cleansing conveniently swept under the rug." This is the source of the problem. It has caused the death of thousands of people for the past 7 decades, 75 years. It has caused the incarceration of over 1 million Palestinians under occupation. It has caused millions of Palestinian refugees. It has caused the Jewish people to feel unsafe for the past 75 years. This is the source of the misery Palestinians and Israelis are now living under. The 75 years have climaxed to October 2023. This is the heart of the matter. This is the lie that's been hidden from ordinary people of the world for the past 75 years. It started in 1948. Do not believe them when they tell you otherwise. This is our Nakba. This is our catastrophe. Like Australia's terra nullius lie, Israel was founded on a similar lie. Land without people for a people without a land. But there were people there. Lots of us, the Palestinian people. Just like Australia, the Aboriginal people were always here for 65,000 years. The Palestinian people have also been here in Palestine for thousands of years. Up until 1948, Palestine was a multi-ethnic, multi-religious society like Australia is now. There were Arabs, Greeks, Armenians, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and Druze. In 1948, more than 750,000 people were driven from 500 towns and villages across Palestine and thrown out to the West Bank, to Gaza, to Jordan, to Syria, to Lebanon, and to ships that were conveniently waiting to send them to the Americas. It was all planned so that the country gets emptied from its indigenous inhabitants. Jewish Israeli historian Ilan Pape attests to this fact. This is a fact, not propaganda. Many of those 19 refugees have been living in villages, but they have been forced to stay out by all means necessary: barbed fences, concrete walls, incarceration, and special areas ID system to separate Palestinian communities from each other. For Palestinians, life froze in 1948. Generations are born yearning to return home. They live in squalid conditions in refugee camps without opportunities, without control over their resources, their currency, their economy. The unemployment rate in Gaza is 70%. Just imagine that, 70%. Many UN resolutions are still standing, demanding that refugees return home. And once you see 1948 Nakba, you cannot unsee it. And it will form your view of subsequent events up until now, up until 7th of October. Since then, we have all been living in hell. Palestinians been living in hell, Israelis living in hell, and the world has been watching this hell unfold on our screens. This hell has woken up a lot of people. Many just found out the truth. Many know that this conflict is not sustainable. Many know in their hearts there's a bigger injustice that's been committed here, and the Palestinian people are paying the biggest price. There is a way out of this hell though for both people. And let me tell you my grandmother's story. Let me tell you the truth that will set both people free. Grandmother in Arabic is Teta. My grandmother's name was Widad, Teta Widad. Once you hear Teta Widad Nakba story, it's like you have heard a million similar stories from millions of Palestinians. I believe that Teta Widad's story is a testimony of our history because a million stories sound the same as hers, which validates what Amanda Galenda and Ilan Pape referred to as the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. In 1948, Teta Widad was young and beautiful, living a peaceful life in Ramle. She just finished building her new home and shop with my grandfather Saliba. In 1948, my grandparents were driven out of their home. They locked their house, took the key, and they thought they will be back in a few weeks once the fighting ends. They walked for 3 days with little children to Ramallah. They arrived exhausted, penniless, with nothing but the clothes on their back, their house key, and the title deed of the land that they bought to build their home. After 1967 occupation of the rest of Palestine, Ramallah became subject to Israeli military rule and was accessible to go and see Ramle, my grandparents' home. I was 10 years old when we went to see it. My cousin spoke Hebrew, so he took us to see the home. We knocked on the door, and a man opened the door. My cousin told him, my grandmother used to live in this house 30 years ago. He said he doesn't know anything about it. My grandmother asked if she could see the home and walk inside it for a few minutes. You see, she missed her home, and she never forgot her home. But the Israeli man refused. He asked us to leave and shut the door in our face. Teta Widad cried a lot that day. I have never seen her cry that much. I discovered later that it was a cathartic cry where years of repressed tears burst like a flood. I tried to console her, but she ended up consoling me. What she said to me formed my understanding of the Nakba and transferred in me her trauma. I am now carrying this intergenerational trauma, and that's the reason I care about Palestine and our cause. She said, and I want you to hear this please, very important you get that. Teta Widad was not educated. She didn't have a degree, but she was wise. She said, it's okay, Suzan. He might be living in my house, but I have the key. The key is the truth. The truth is the key. Repeat after me. The key is the truth. The truth is the key.
The key is the truth. The truth is the key.
We have the key. We have the truth.
We have the truth.
The truth will set us all free.
The truth will set us all free.
We have to focus on telling the truth.
We have to focus on telling the truth.
We have to focus on telling our stories.
We have to focus on telling our stories.
We have the truth, and the truth is our Nakba.
We have the truth, and the truth is our Nakba.
Thank you. We Palestinians were forcibly removed from our homes and not allowed to return. Just what you see right now in Gaza, they're not allowed to return to North Gaza. Can you believe that? This is the true source of the conflict. Unless we address the fundamental truth and gain justice, there is no peace, neither for Palestinians nor Israelis. There is no peace for anyone in this world. Despite the death of innocent thousands, despite the humiliation of the occupation, despite the demolition of homes, the forcible displacements of millions of Palestinians, I have to tell you I am still hopeful. And I tell you why I'm hopeful. My cousin went again and asked the Israeli guy living in my grandparents' home if he would change his mind and let my Teta Widad see her home inside. After some time he agreed, and she did walk inside her house. The Israeli man living in my grandmother's house knew the truth. He knew that this house belonged to somebody else. He knew that people were kicked out of their homes. He knew there was a Nakba. Now, the Israeli and Western media have been trying to cover up this truth, pretending Nakba never happened. More and more people are realizing the truth. Politicians who go and visit, they know the truth. The truth leaves evidence. We are the evidence. We exist. We got to tell the truth. We got to tell the truth. Just like I shared my Nakba story. Flood the internet with 1 million Nakba story. Share your story on social media. Just like I shared my story today, I want you to take your iPhone out and share your Nakba story tomorrow and put it on TikTok. The key is the truth. The truth is the key. Repeat after me. The key is the truth. The truth is the key. We have the key. We have the truth. And the truth shall set us all free and free Palestine.